Hey everyone, and welcome to my shop. So I've been working on this vanity for my master bath. We have your standard 30-inch tall vanity and we want a taller one. And I haven't really been filming much of it. In part, it just feels like, well, last year I did this whole series on my kitchen and this is just another cabinet. But so regardless, I haven't really been filming it much. I've just been trying to get through it. And I ran into a little issue yesterday and I'm like, okay, I think it's time for a shop update. So let's show you what's been going on. Vanity's just a hair over 4 feet long, 36 inches tall. It's got a 4-inch tall by 3-inch deep kick. Middle section is going to be doors, and the outside sections are going to be 3 drawers. You know, skinny drawer, tall drawer, really tall drawer. And I made the whole thing out of Baltic birch. And of course, it doesn't look like that here because on this side it's Baltic birch, but then I've skinned it over with some cherry plywood, 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch, 3/16, whatever it is. It's left over from my kitchen project. So this is cherry plywood. I've put cherry on the front edges. Here I doubled it up because I wanted to have a little bit more meat for the hinges to be drilling into. I made it out of 1/2 inch just because it just seemed easier to just parcel it out into, you know, just sheets of Baltic birch plywood. But 1/2 inch dividers are a bit of a pain because you have to use super short screws when you're putting things together. And it was the drawers where I ran into some trouble. So the drawer openings here are 11.5, and I've got full extension slides in here, and you have to allow a 1/2 inch for each slide. So I built my drawer boxes 10.5 inches so they can slide in there. But then I was fitting the top drawer and it just felt stiff, and I'm like, oh well, you know, maybe I'm just off by a bit. And then when I got to the second one, it was really stiff. And I'm like, what's going on? And I pull out my tape measure, and here in the middle, it's not 11.5, it's like 11 7/16. So it's a 1/16 inch narrower here, and also at the top. Now I'm explaining this now, and it's really not a big deal. I can think of 2 quick and simple ways to deal with this, but this was 9:30 at night, you know, end of a long work day. And after supper, I came down into the shop to try to get some work done. And I've already finished the cabinet, pretty much. I've already got 3 coats of finish on the drawers. And I ran into this, and that's the time when you turn off the lights and close the door and leave the shop, because it's better than throwing something. I know what I have to do. What I'm probably going to do is I'm just going to dismount the drawer slides, and I'm going to shave like a 32nd of an inch off of each side, just behind where these runners go. You could take it off with a router table. You could, if your cabinet allowed it, you could dismount the drawer slides and get out the router and route a little channel there. I don't think that would look good with what I've got here. You could take your drawers apart and remake them. You know, if this was a masterpiece, if you will, I'd do that. But you know, these are just plywood boxes that I built, and it's going in my own house. And it's one of these things that nobody but me is ever going to see. But anyways, so that's what's going on in my shop right now. So after that quick little shave job, let's put it back and see. And I might have to do it again you don't know, but I don't want to take too much. That one goes nicer. Let's try the other one. Well, the top one's good. Middle one's still stiff, so I think I'm going to take just a little bit more. All right, lather, rinse, repeat. That was actually the third time. The second time it was still sticking, and I tried two things and I'm not sure which one is the one that fixed it entirely. I discovered it was going just a hair tighter in the back. So let me show you. I got this piece of wood that fits exactly here, and then when I brought it to the back, it fits now, but it didn't quite fit before. So that's how I figured out that it was getting a bit narrower in the back. I guess the back had shifted over, so I took out the screws on the back behind it, pushed that wedge in so everything was pushed over, and then I put back one of the screws, and it still wasn't quite working. And the other thing I realized is that the piece that I'd shaved off was high enough for this track, but it wasn't quite high enough for this track. So I had to raise the saw blade up so it cuts a bit higher, but that clears the other side of the slide. But it's working good now. Here on the back, I just drilled fresh holes so there'd be no chance of the screw trying to pull the board back over. This is going to be against the wall. Nobody will ever see this. There's all kinds of ways to make drawers. For this time, I simply went with butt-jointed Baltic birch boxes. For the bottoms, I just laminate the plywood over top. I call this the Matthias Wandel style because he's the first guy I learned that from. With the plywood glued over the whole bottom, you have a really strong box. I did reinforce the corners. Let's talk about that. So this is 12mm or 1/2" Baltic birch, and I thought, well, I want to reinforce that, so I'll pop some 1/4" dowels in, and as you can see, that didn't work. First set I did, basically every single hole it chipped out. It's because you're just so close to the edge here, and here also. I got some that weren't bad. I tried switching to a brad point drill bit, but still, it was just not a good idea. For the rest of the drawers, I ended up running upstairs to the kitchen and grabbing these bamboo skewers. They're approximately 1/8 inch in diameter, and I drilled holes for all my other drawers and popped them in, and that worked a little bit better. And so there you go. Just thought I'd put together a quick shop update. This side is all in. Got to put the drawers in this side, and then I got to build the front. If you look right, let's see, there over my shoulder, you can see the cherry boards that are on the wall. Rough cherry. I haven't even started on that yet. It should be fairly quick. I mean, these are all just going to be slab drawer fronts, just like I did in my kitchen. So it's just a matter of joining, planing, thicknessing, cutting to size, and finishing, and who am I kidding? It's going to be weeks. It is summer after all. We still got to fit some outside time in, and you know, day job and all those other things. So I think that's about it for this one. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you in the next one.